this is a very messed up situation. I'm looking at the headlines, and so May 21st, Europe accepts Putin's demand on gas payments to avoid more shutoffs. I mean, this is confirming my view of Putin as a bit of a dictator. Rome, European energy companies appear to have bent to Russian Vladimir Putin's demand that they purchase natural gas using an elaborate new payment system, concessions that avoid more natural gas shutoffs, and also gives Putin a public relations victory by continuing to fund his war effort in Ukraine. There are a couple things that should be pointed out about that. Like right off the bat, Europe is going to pay. I can't see the rest of Europe. Okay, when I read this headline, what I'm thinking is, Putin is behaving as a complete dictator over the rest of Europe, and yeah, they're making the payments in order to not be cut off from a natural gas pipeline that they're basically dependent on from Russia now. But I can't imagine Europe is going to like that. That they're going to like that abuse coming from the direction or appreciate it in any way, as it's going on. And the system, which involves the creation of two accounts of Gazprom, enables Russia to say that it's technically paying for natural gas in euros, where Russia can say it's receiving repayment and payment in rubles, a requirement that Putin imposed on unfriendly nations. Putin's insistence on rubles may be more about forcing European countries to scramble at his behest than about shoring up his country's currency. Some economies and energy experts suspect the European Union countries that have been touchy about the notion that they might violate their sanctions on Russia and questions about their arrangement tested European unity, leading to weeks of chaos and contradictory guidance from Brussels. It's got countries talking about how much they still need Russian gas, even as they debate a Russian oil embargo. In short terms, they're willing to jump at some hoops to avoid an energy crisis, but that also means sending money to Russia, even as they condemn the Kremlin-launched war, sanction oligarchs, and supply weapons to Ukraine. Russia had already used strict capital controls and a massive interest rate hike to stabilize the ruble, while Europe is now signaling that it will use the payment system as bills come due this week. The currency is strengthening all the more. Under the new billing system, gas payments will continue to be involved and sent in euros. The noteworthy change is that Russia will take the money from the European energy company's euro account, convert the euros into rubles, transfer the money into a special ruble account, also belonging to the energy company, and then take the money once and for all. This is where a transaction where everybody saves face, said Alexander Lanza, a professor at Rome's Luce University and a former economist at Italy's major energy company. A broad European refusal to adjust to its payment terms and get to Gazprom, the Russian state-owned energy giant, would have pushed prices even higher for consumers and potentially led to rationing measures across the bloc. Two European Union members, Poland and Bulgaria, had their supplies cut late in April by Gazprom after refusing to go along with the new system. In what Poland's prime minister called a direct attack, Finland this week was subject to a similar cutoff as retaliation for its NATO application. But most European countries appear to have taken a different route, moving away from rhetoric about refusing to be blackmailed and making peace with their an arrangement based on technicalities. Timely payment for the received gas deliveries from Russia is ensured. So, given the amount of pressure Putin is putting in the situation on everybody, and the dictatorial move that was, and the way that he's blackmailing them in this situation, I don't. There are things to note. People like me have been paying a lot of attention to the development of electric vehicles, right? How long can Putin keep everybody completely dependent on Russian oil when Europe has moved pretty heavily towards electric vehicles? And as far as the natural gas is concerned, God, don't we have something else as far as heating? Heating without... Yeah, heat pumps, you know. So yeah, and I've been hearing about those and how they're more likely to end up with a heat pump in Europe, you know. So you're talking about, heat pumps, the battle for dominance in the heat pump market, reaches Europe. So considered crucial to climate neutral heating. So, the truth of the matter is that there's a lot of innovation that's going to end up taking place. And, yeah, I mean, um, I would argue that what Putin is doing is likely only going to make the battle for the dominance in heat pumps, more a rush towards heat pumps because of the fact that you don't want to be stuck, ultimately in a situation where you're relying on Russian natural gas for heating.